Hi, everybody.
Hi, Patty.
Hello,
Hey,
Patty.
Patty.
Everybody awake?
Yes.
Okay, that was amazing. Bill was amazing, and I get to follow some amazing speakers. And there was a little girl and a little boy playing on the beach, and they were building sandcastles. And the little girl built her sandcastle with all this beautiful, like a moat, and she was using all of the little pails that we get, you know, and you turn them upside down, and you get this beautiful sandcastle. And the little boy has a hump of dirt and a stick in it. And she goes, my sandcastle is better than your sandcastle. No, it's not, his male ego being, you know, questioned. Mine's better than yours. No, mine's better than yours. And they went back and forth, back and forth. My mom's better than your mom. My dad's better than your dad. My house is bigger than your house, blah, 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 blah. Pretty soon, the little boy couldn't think of anything, and he drops his bathing suit, and he says, I got one of these.
Oh, no.
The little girl didn't know what to do. She goes running home, crying hysterically. Next day, same scene. Little girl, little boy, beautiful sandcastle for the little girl. Little boy, 2 humps of dirt, 2 sticks. Mine's better than yours. No, it's not. Mine's better than yours. My mother, my father, your mother, my father. It went on and on. Little boy drops his straws. He says, I got one of these. The little girl, with a smug look on her face, dropped her bathing suit and said, my mother said that if I had one of these, I could have as many of those as I want. So, why do I tell you that story? Not just to make you laugh. Yet, think about the times in your life when someone has either attacked you or you're in a confrontation or a conversation and you don't know what to say. How many of you have ever experienced that? And sometimes it's a heavy confrontation. I remember when I first got into chiropractic, when I first graduated, I remember meeting a medical student, and we were like battling back and back, like it was a battle of our intellect. And I learned very quickly that I couldn't win that battle. Okay, not that I'm not intellectual, yet I'm more of a heart-centered, feeling person. And I found that I could engage in a conversation if I stayed real focused with my philosophy. So how many of you have been in situations where, like the little girl, you had an answer. You were able to stand your ground and claim your power. Anybody? Wouldn't that be great if we were always in those situations? In my evolution to having the practice that I have with Peter and now Dr. Sherry, people come and look at our practice and they say, I want to practice like that. Okay, then it'll take the work that Peter and I did, but it also takes being Patty and being Peter, and as you've heard from a lot of people, that you have to be you. That's what Bill says. Be authentic. A lot of people said that this weekend. You have to be you, you have to be authentic, so you'll have the practice that is your most authentic practice. So as I look at my evolution, I realize that I was drawn to the philosophy because it made sense to me. It made sense that there's an intelligence, that there is an innate intelligence. Peter already talked about, for those of you who missed, that there's a universal intelligence in all things that gives to it all of its properties, all of its actions, thus, right, Nayland? Thus maintaining it in existence. And we have that internal innate intelligence within us. It is there, it doesn't ask our opinion, we don't have discussions with it. It is doing what it needs to do to allow us to survive, to thrive. So, I studied this. And I didn't stop studying. And to this day, I continue to study and understand how can I apply that philosophy into every single discussion, decision, thought process that I do in my life. And sometimes it's challenging to try to find, well, how can I make that fit? But I will tell you that 99.9% of the time I can. I'm really good at that. And I'm really good at it because I've been studying and practicing. I remember when I met Peter, he had graduated from Palmer, and he was teaching the CA program at Palmer. And they came up with a list of 100 commonly asked questions of chiropractors and CAs. And Peter often hands that out at the programs that he teaches. And I remember seeing the list and not being able to answer most of the questions. And I made it my business to learn all the answers to those questions. And all the answers came out of the fundamental understanding of our philosophy, that there is a reason for everything. Everything has a reason, and that there's an intelligence within everything, that it never does anything wrong, that you can't say, it's okay for my body to feel this, but it's not okay for my body to feel this. It's like, it's all exactly the way it's supposed to be, and we get to look at it and explore it. So I implore you, CAs, spouses, learn the physiology of the body. It's so simple. Have your doctors help you, or read some really basic information. Learn about the workings of the body so that when people come up to you and they ask you a question, or they tell you about a symptom, you go, wow, why do you think your body would do that? It's like, employ all of the curiosity that Bill had shared with you. I've been doing that for years, only because Bill Esteb, years ago, has been trying to pound that into all of us. Be curious, be curious, be curious. Ask questions. Don't blurb out answers. Now, am I perfect with that? No, but I'm really good at catching myself. Ask questions. So I had the opportunity a few weeks ago. My mother's blood pressure, kind of strange, our family's always had low blood pressure. You know, we're from the Mediterranean, 95 over 60. Actually not low. I would explain to my family when I got home from chiropractic school that was actually our normal. And that was the concept, you know, the innate intelligence, that your normal can be your normal and somebody else's might be 180 over 100, who knows. So my mom's blood pressure is going up, and my father's taking it 5 times a day, and he's writing it down on his list, because that's my dad, and finds that it goes over 200, but my mom feels great, no headaches, nothing, but it's 200 over 60. If it's a patient, you get to have this opportunity too. You get to say, I said to my mom and dad, why do you think it's doing that? And of course I knew they didn't know the answer. And my dad's like, I don't know, maybe she's stressed, maybe this, maybe she's eating too much salt, I don't, but at least they start thinking. They start thinking for themselves that it's not just, it's not a bad thing. So I said, well, think about it. If your heart is, that high number means that your heart is trying to pump the blood to your body, and it's trying really hard, and it's pumping very hard. And that bottom number is the resting. That means that the blood is, you know, it's in the blood vessels, and it's okay. It's not hyper, that's normal. So something tells me that, can you see that the blood is trying to get somewhere and your heart's trying to pump it, so maybe it's weak, or maybe there's a blockage? My dad goes, that makes sense. My brother calls me. He goes, what do you think's going on? I said, I don't know, Armin, what do you think? Why do you think her, and I went through the whole process again. Then I got to go through it with my sisters, and we're all on the same page. I got them to see that, I said, if you give her the blood pressure medication, okay, and it brings down that top number does it make sense to you that the blood may not get to parts of her body that it needs to get to? And they're like, yeah, but it's over 200. Yeah, I get it. And maybe you want to use caution. If you're going to take blood pressure medication, use caution to not take too much, because that lower number, so she took some blood pressure medication, it went down to 130 over 50. Is that a good thing? So it's like having a clogged drain and knowing that you have to like squirt the water through it as hard and as fast as possible to unclog the drain, and you just trickle the water in. That's what the drug did. So we're in the process of, my mom's 87, and they're in process, yet we're also in process of I'm not saying to them, don't take the drugs. I'm saying, let's just look at it logically. Let's figure out what her body's doing. So she finally went to a cardiologist who says, I think there's some kidney function going on. And think about it. Wouldn't your heart have to pump really hard to try to get the blood to go filter, increase the pressure to filter through the kidneys? So anyway, but I just wanted to share with you just one example. There are so many. Many people this weekend have talked about healing coming from the inside. And I really believe that is what Bill said about changing people's beliefs. That really is what my mission is. It has always been to help people see where they're at and see that they do have answers inside. Answers here, but answers within their physiology. And that if I can empower people that the answers are in there and that they are the healers. So that, and you've all heard me do this a million times, you have a strong body, you have a healthy body, your body knows how to heal you. And when people say, thank you, Dr. Patti, you helped me with blah, 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 I say, well, you can thank me for flipping the switches. And you can thank the genius and the wonder and the brilliance of the inner workings of your body and the genius that runs your body. That is what allowed you to take that little flip of a switch and change your physiology or have whatever happened to you that has happened as a result of an adjustment. I think that is the most important thing that we can keep saying. It's not chiropractic. I really, when I hear people say, chiropractic, see, that's the power of chiropractic. It is the power of the wisdom and the genius of life inside of that person. It is not chiropractic. Please. I yelled at you. I must be getting older. It is my birthday tomorrow. So when we, in our office, Bill, how much time do I have?
7 minutes.
Okay. So a little bit about our practice. So we have a family wellness practice, and that means different things to different people. And I want to give you some statistics. So we have low new patients in our office and high visits. We basically, 85% of our practice is on what's called our wellness plan. That's after there's a first year plan where people come in and they're paying about $3,000 for the year. And then after that year, they go on what's called a wellness plan. 85% of our practice is on a wellness plan. So that means at the end of their year, they're handed their wellness plan form, and I have to tell you that we have less than 1% that don't sign up. We have about 200 people that have been under care in our office for over 20 years, once a week, okay? Now, do they all get chiropractic? No. Do they come in once a week and get on the table and get adjusted, and sometimes they bitch about this or that or whatever, and we always say, glad you're here, let's make sure your nerve system's clear. Let's sure we turn on all the switches so your body can deal with everything that you're dealing with. Every month, I sign thank you cards to at least 20 or so people that are renewing their wellness plans. So when some people say, oh, I get 20 new patients in a month, I count those as new